Before starting this, I want to first say thank you. Thank you to everyone who was involved in this film, who allowed me to be part of their life, who shared their stories, their experiences, their difficulties, the people who are viewing this, and the people who continually, on a day-to-day basis, help others heal within themselves. Life can be a mess sometimes, but we're often spoon-fed this idea in this picture of this highlighted, glamorous, luxurious idea of what it's supposed to be. And it's damaging. Sometimes it can make me feel like my problems are meaningless, or I'm not good enough yet because I'm not at a point where it seems like everyone else is. Especially celebrities, people with status. It can make you feel less than. It can make you feel unseen. This film, docuseries, whatever it may be, is to highlight the idea and normalize that we're all still trying to figure it out, and that we don't have to figure it out alone. I don't want to spoil anything, but this has been over this series of almost a year and a half. Thank you to Youth Nexus, with the help of students, professionals, friends and family, emotion.
My name is Laura. I am age of 20, surprisingly, and I live in Chico, California.
My name is Janaya. I'm 18 years old and I live in Chico, but originally I'm from the Bronx, New York.
Ishmael Amir Walker. I'm from Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, but I was born in Junction City, Kansas.
Hi, my name is Liz. I am 21 years old. I am from the Concal Maidu area.
My name is Javon Holston. I am 21 years old. I am from Victorville, California, and I currently reside in Chico, California.
So my name is Dr. Franz Colin with the Haitian accent.
Somebody looking for me? Okay, I'm just joking. I am Shirley Say, and I'm happy to be here with you.
My name is Baba Wallaby, So that's my African name, Born and raised in Jamaica. Originally, African man, we were brought from Africa to Jamaica, So I was raised in Jamaica,
I represent Colin Cares Foundation. It's a foundation here in Miami, Florida that I started, a nonprofit, in order to raise mental health awareness in specific communities where there's disproportionate lack of healthcare and mental health awareness.
Currently, I am a dancer, fitness instructor, personal trainer, and apparently a hairstylist, amongst other things. I am a mother, a recent grandmother, and just a lover of life.
So that's the African American community, the Caribbean American community, the LGBT community, and the Hispanic community. So most of those communities that I mentioned are communities that I'm actually a member of. I am a gay Black male, son of immigrants from Haiti, and I represent all these different people who actually do not seek mental health care. So I wanted to bring about Colin Cares in order to raise mental health awareness.
Yeah, I've been in this growing food since I was about 10 years old. I remember starting to grow my own little food, So I've been, from that day on, I'm still basically growing food. So, food is a part of my existence.
Ups and downs, just got off of work and now I'm just relaxing here, which is great. Yeah. I've been breathing the fresh air for a while now, but okay. I'm in between, but also in a way relieved as well.
Today, I guess I'll say I'm feeling relaxed. In one word, I'll say I'm feeling relaxed today.
What are you relieved from? I'm actually just taking a break for myself.
Today, a little nervous because of the interview, but overall, I'm pretty calm, a little optimistic about the rest of my week.
Feeling pretty good, a little tired, heavy eyes, but that's usually how it is when I have these early classes.
This is kind of just like what I foresee, because thought process, there could be a different story going on, but I'm kind of just like telling myself that's how I want to feel, so I'm projecting it out.
We're all just energy.
Emotion is energy in motion.
How you respond to certain type of things.
First, I want to say emotions are real.
One's state mentally.
To be honest, emotions that's no words or can't even describe it.
You know your emotions are real because you can feel that, and that's true to you.
It depends on how you respond or how you feel, and sometimes it can't be put into words or to know what is an emotion.
Sometimes the words are complicated and too complex. You might not feel what you want to explain about what you're feeling because you don't know how.
We're energetic beings, so yeah, energy is in motion. So that's why when people get emotional, you feel a shift in energy because it's energy moving.
Like the way that the other people around me interact with me, that usually really affects my mood. And I'm like you're so mad. What?
Like how they react with their mood, their surroundings and people, and just everyday life. That mental reaction is like the feeling that they're going through. I think that's emotion.
There's definitely a lot.
Because we're emotional beings.
There's no limit, to be honest.
But I feel like there's kind of categories.
Emotions, they range. They can either be in between of two emotions or in between 2-3 emotions. There are people out there who describe emotion in their own language or in their own context.
As early as the 4th century, there has been a basis of 14 distinct expressions. And here, now in 2020, we have this list. Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like 100. See, that's crazy, happy, angry, disgusted, sad, bad, fearful, surprised are in the middle. And then those just branch off of that.
It definitely gives you a span of all these things. I mean, just the example, looking at what sad is.
Yeah, like happy and angry are the two biggest pieces of the pie.
So this is a great breakdown. I like it.
Are there some in particular that you may have not been common with or that you may have not been aware of?
Betrayed.
Indignant.
Definitely skeptical.
Exposed. Apathetic.
Insecure, definitely. When I didn't understand that I was insecure. Excluded. Inadequate.
Critical.
Insignificant.
Dismayed. Disillusioned.
Damn.
Wow, there's a lot.
How is it that we learned so much about expression, but when it comes to our own feelings, we just can't seem to put into words?
Sometimes the words are complicated and too complex. You might not feel what you want to explain about what you're feeling because you don't know how to.
And stuff. So when we do start feeling something, we get defensive, even if it's towards ourselves, but that comes out as acting out to other people.
I definitely used to bottle up a lot of stuff, and just not deal with it at all. So mentally I was just on the edge all the time.
And usually I don't think about the bad things or the bad emotions that I have experienced at all. I have only recently started to realize that about myself.
And you're like, I'm just gonna stay in these emotions when really you should be attempting to find how to get out of them.
Triggers are major, right? Anything that is an external stressor for you is a trigger. So an external stressor can be something that influences you positively or influences you negatively.
Have you personally experienced triggers in your life, and if so, when?
Probably elementary to teens to freshman year of high school. My parents were arguing all the time. My dad in and out of jail sometimes.
When I was little, and when I first when I was diagnosed with Crohn's.
The passing of my father.
Those situations are definitely going to trigger you in some form or fashion.
I noticed how I was more aware and more paranoid and more anxious.
So I'd act out in class.
Yeah.
And I remember one time she pulled me out And then she like asked me, she's like, what's going on? Like, is there something at home that's going on?
Yeah.
And I remember I was getting choked up because I was like, I knew she was right.
Because of probably the way that we were brought up, which a lot of us are brought up to, like keep it all in.
Didn't know what emotions were going through my head, or like I didn't even know what emotion was. Like I didn't know exactly what I was feeling. So yeah.
Of course, I was anxious, but it was a new experience of just like unknown. Just like, what is this feeling? This feels awful.
While trying to explore where your triggers may come from or how to deal with them, you have to take into account past traumas as well as current events that may be affecting your mental health.
The more I learn just about the real world or just life in general, I feel like I get a little more cynical.
What is going on in the world? That how can I contribute to being better? You want to make an impact.
Sometimes, like, I get discouraged.
Just because I just look at all of the dark sides of it.
Sometimes you don't feel anything. Sometimes you're just like numb to certain things.
Like I'll feel something and then I won't know that I feel it. So really long time later, it doesn't really help because it kind of just festers and it gets worse. But I mean, sometimes I don't know a way to get that out. So
I feel like that should be validated. It's kind of hard to put in words. It's like I'm not exactly the happiest, but I'm not exactly sad either.
And how does all this repression reflect in our body?
Whether it be like mental illness, like depression or obsession over something, we get the clues in the nomadic lifestyle where you don't, deal in the health or fitness field, but we tend to ignore it, right? You are more hypersensitive to how the mind and the body work together because it starts in the mind. What you think about, you'll bring about, and that also goes into the body.
And you want to be able to stand and leave a legacy, leave something behind that's going to matter.
Just being confused on what exactly I want to do with my life right now, or what direction I'm going.
I mean, I know I have a purpose here, and I know it's to help change the world for the better. I know that because I can feel that in my bones and in my soul. I know that that's the reason I'm here.
Many people avoid getting help, seeking treatment, or even getting support from their friends and family due to the many misconceptions surrounding mental health, mental illness, and mental well-being. Even though 20% of youth between the ages of 13 and 18 are living with a mental health condition, and 90% of those who passed away due to suicide had underlying mental health conditions, making suicide the third leading cause of death between youth in the ages of 10 to 24.
I feel like one of the main misconceptions surrounding mental health is that it's always something to do with anything negative.
Just get over it.
Get over it.
Oh, that person's making excuses.
It's like, if I go get help, if I go get mental health assistance, I'm going to be seen as somebody that is crazy or not well.
People think that they can make fun of it, or they don't, they can't relate, so they don't really care about it that much. I feel like it's the same kind of with mental health too, because then they're like, oh, those two things are the same if you don't know, and then they kind of just push it to the side because people in society in the past who have been mentally ill or just have had mental health problems or just not been stable in their lives have been kind of outcast, and I feel like it's still happening. They're doing it in a more glamorous way where it's not like they don't want to be politically incorrect.
Common misconception is that it's just that easy to get over something, or that easy to control the emotions that are going on.
A mental illness just as much as a physical, just as much as being hurt or having a broken bone.
How you react with your surroundings and how you internalize or externalize your thought process. And that doesn't always have to be bad. You can go through periods where it's more positive, and that's your well-being is more positive, so your mental health will be more positive. And that's mental health too. And then there's the other side where you feel hopeless, and all these other emotions that are more negatively associated, and that is also mental health.
It takes a process, you know, and it makes you realize how like maybe like that's how they handle their mental illness. It's just to stop it and actually confront to it themselves. And they build up this just anger, or just, you know, just having this, well, have their own way battle coping mechanisms of how they let out their own methods as well.
I think that a misconception is a lot of people mistake laziness for mental health problems, because I know like when kids are depressed, they don't want to do certain things like their work and stuff, and then they get anxiety from that, and then that consumes their whole life, and they go back into a big depression.
And of course the body and the mind they're not separate. So you know the saying, where your mind goes, the body will flow, or where your thoughts go, the body will flow. So your body pretty much follows your mind.
One thing that some people fear to do is go talk to a therapist or a psychiatrist, especially in the Black community, especially in the Caribbean community, especially in the LGBT community. So it becomes this disability for themselves, because they're hindering their own ability to get better, seek treatment, seek therapy, seek medication that might just balance appropriately the hormones that need to give you an ability to deal with yourself more appropriately. Other stigmas can be just the impact of what you're experiencing.
And it's not necessarily what's wrong with you, it's what's eating at me right now.
It's still like, it's kind of like a parasite almost.
It's like taking all over you.
Like it's hard to take off this parasite when this parasite keeps going back onto you. And it's hard to let go because you experience this feeling for so long.
I think that we should definitely normalize mental health, but we shouldn't downplay it, because I think what she's like saying is they downplay it and they just push it off the counselor, but it's not that easy to just like do that, and that's not going to solve all of your problems. Because
everybody goes through emotions. Everybody feels sadness, everybody feels fear at a point, everybody feels anger, everybody can feel happy, but that is all normal, whether it's a positive association or a negative association.
So it's hard to find like relax, or just to, you know, try to, you know, get this anxiety away when it's just really affecting you.
I think the first thing we have to do when having the conversations is acknowledge other people's, like, their mindset, and are you okay enough to hear what I've been through, and maybe we could talk about it together. We can exchange feelings, traumas, to help better understand each other.
What's the matter?
Like, how can I help you?
Do you want to talk about it?
How do you feel? Like
that's the better way to respond.
It's still at the end of the day, feelings, because human emotions are exactly what that is, human emotions. All these emotions that we list here, it's human emotions. All humans can experience it. So the idea of mental health is all these emotions. It's normal for people to go through them.
It's important that you kind of like erase the brainwash that you've already had, because someone else's reality doesn't have to be yours.
But mental health, sometimes the health of your mental could be so drastic that you can't even fix it, you're just stuck with it. But if you like have a low well-being, you can work on that.
If you're somebody that's depressed and you have depression, you are going to have some serious feelings of sadness, grief, guilt, anhedonia, which is this lack or loss of feeling of pleasure.
I just, because like I've had depression on and off throughout my life, and I kind of like depression and mental health kind of go hand in hand, because it's not a mental illness that is like there all the time. Like it can be seasonally, or it can be like you can only get depressed once. For some people it's different for everyone, or it can be more clinical, and it can be like hereditary sometimes. And my depression is hereditary and kind of circumstantial, but I mean it's something that runs in my family, like really bad depression.
You're going to have these depressed feelings, sad feelings, inability to sleep, or possibly too much sleep, loss of weight, or possibly weight gain. So you see that and you don't know what it is, and then you're criticized by family or friends. Oh, you're putting on 20 pounds. Gosh, what happened to you? Are you really going to go seek look for somebody to make you feel better? Or no, you're just going to deal with that or allow that to trigger you even more to eat more, binge, go through whatever it is that makes you feel as if this is going to impact me negatively.
But we have never been so disconnected with each other. It's crazy.
When we're lacking that connection, our body tends to go into a down state, or at least the immunity goes into a down state.
Self-care isn't like the aesthetic self-care. No, it's delving deep into yourself and being uncomfortable and working through that.
As stressful as life is, taking a bike ride, a breather, art, dancing, these and so many more are different forms of coping mechanisms that you can use to take internal stressors and manage them in a productive and healthy way.
I always liked it outside, but in like the first months of quarantine, I would just be on the trampoline all the time and just like swim and stuff.
On one side, I got to spend more time with my family, but then also it was like I was missing, I took advantage of how much we appreciate the outside world,
For me, there's been like a greater attachment to needing like outside time and fresh air and just a break and just to go and not be in nature specifically, like have some fresh air that's not like cooped up.
You would say there's a connection there.
Oh man, yeah, the earth. None of us wouldn't be here if we didn't have the earth, So for me, I think where we are in our history right now, we see how far away we came from not having the earth underneath us. What we have right now is concrete jungle, and then a whole heap of people are going stir crazy because of their situation that they live in. They've been taken away from the land and brought into cities across our nation, and then they don't have place to produce.
And sometimes subconsciously, you can be in a happy environment, for instance, and your body's glowing and it's flowing and things, and you feel so healthy, vibrant, right? But then you get in a depressed state. Maybe say you change environments and you don't know anyone, or you're alone, or you have no connection. You could fall into a depression, a sadness, kind of what a lot of us are dealing with COVID right now. People can't connect, people can't come together, people can't have that physical and that closeness, that bonding anymore as human beings, which we need to thrive.
When I do Calling Care's suicide prevention awareness, it's to raise that awareness and remind people that your life means everything to someone.
So people, love thyself first.
To the younger generation, I'll just say it's okay to feel not okay. Basically, like there is so much emotions that you're gonna go through in life, and it might suck, but just know they are validated. Like there's nothing wrong with you going through these emotions and these feelings.
Don't be scared, and usually if you go within, you already have the answers.
De-stressing comes from your ability to recognize your own self and how you react to your emotions or how you react to triggers outside. If you don't know how you react and you don't take into consideration your own behavior,
take into account our own faults. Like, I have not always been this person. Like, I have done some really fucked up things in my life. Like, I want to say I'm only 20, but I have done some fucked up things, and I've said a lot of fucked up things. Like, yeah. And so, like, being able for me to be able to say that and to take accountability for the actions that I did do, but also know that people can change. Mm-hmm. Like, that's part of self-growth and you know. And
it's about accountability, you know. It's, if you're not accountable for your own actions and accountable for how you react, you definitely are going to have issues with dealing with stress. And so in order to de-stress, knowing who you are, knowing how you're able to recognize it and say, okay, this is not how I'm going to function. This is not how I'm going to behave. This is not how I'm going to react.
We have freedom of choice if we're going to let someone steal our energy, our joy, or our peace, or our wholeness, or not. That's our decision. That's for us to decide. So I say, young people, tap into the self. Go deep within your God self. Be aware of what you're consuming. Stay active, because this body was meant to be physical. When you stop, you're dead. And then just try to spread that love. Be what it is you want to receive. You know the self. Because once you know yourself, then all fear barriers can be broken, because the most confidence is built in you, and no one can tell you any wiser about yourself but you.
See, so I'm encouraging the next generation. I want to give them the opportunity and the knowledge that I know of to sustain themselves. But with doing that, we need to have space to do that.
Again, thank you everybody who took the time to watch this fully. To anybody who needed to take a break, pause it and come back, that's fine too, but thank you. Have a good day, stay safe, and remember that you're loved. If you or someone you know is suicidal or in emotional distress, contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Trained crisis workers are available 24/7, 7 days a week. You can call at 1-800-273-8255. Or, to get general information on mental health and locate treatment services, you can call 1-877-726-4727 for the Treatment Referral Helpline. Thank you again, and stay safe.